What's going on, guys? Austin Zabak here with another YouTube video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the second stimulus check and everything you need to know about it, okay? Everything you need to know about whether or not there will be a second check, and really just all of the new updates from the entire last week, but really the last couple of days. There's actually several updates that I have for you, so make sure you stay till the end of the video. There's been so much going on in the world right now, so many different stimulus check proposals, so much, it is just insane. So I want to do my very best every now and then to make a video trying to update you on the stimulus check, whether or not we'll have another one, and really what that could potentially look and feel like, and kind of where we're at in that process. So that is my goal, but my normal content is very similar as well. I talk about how to save money, how to make money, how to invest your money. I talk a little bit about real estate and a little bit about the stock market, okay? So that is kind of what I normally talk about. Definitely, if you wouldn't mind, I would really appreciate it if you would smash that like button, as it really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. But let's just go ahead and jump right into it. As you know, about 40 million Americans have filed for unemployment since the beginning of this kind of crisis, okay? So basically, WalletHub came out, they surveyed a bunch of people, and about 84% of Americans say they either want or they need a second round of stimulus. So we saw the CARES Act, and that was actually the third stimulus package. Most of you probably already know that, but really at the end of the day, it was a $2.2 trillion care package, okay? And basically, there was tons of money that went tons of different places, big corporations, just all of these different places. And when I look at the comments, right, I look at all the stimulus videos that I've made over the last couple of weeks, and I look at what you are saying. What I'm finding, okay, is that people need more money, right? The $1,200 was not enough money. So basically what we're seeing is that $1,200, right, was not enough money, and people spent that a long time ago, okay? Several months ago. Now we're in June, and people really, they needed money a month ago, right? A month and a half ago, maybe even 2 months ago. And so we're really seeing a lot of the American people coming in and they're saying, look, we need more money, okay? So in this video, we're gonna kind of dive into it here. I do have a bunch of notes and a bunch of different articles, just all sorts of different stuff. My goal is to make it easy for you to understand, make it entertaining, whatever I can possibly do. Basically, as you know, Congress, the Republicans, Democrats, they're all divided on what to do in terms of the second stimulus, in terms of getting money to millions and millions and millions of Americans that can't afford to pay their bills. They can't afford to pay their mortgage. They can't afford to pay their rent. They can't afford to pay for food for their families, right? So what does that look and feel like? According to the Wall Street Journal, a senior administration official has said that President Trump is planning to meet with his senior advisors as soon as this week, this upcoming week, to discuss policy options for the next relief package, for the next stimulus package, as the administration prepares for negotiations with Capitol Hill. Really quick on the CARES Act, it was actually double the size of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which the government passed in 2009 after the market crash of 2008, okay? Interesting fact for you. So it is actually the biggest stimulus injection essentially into the United States economy in history. Over 150 million Americans have gotten a stimulus check, or the stimulus check has been sent out. By the way, if you have not gotten your stimulus check yet, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about a few reasons why maybe you wouldn't have gotten it yet, but that totaling over $260 billion to the American people. Now, the CARES Act was $2.2 trillion. So the rest of that money has gone to businesses, big corporations, testing for the actual coronavirus and things of that nature. So what do we really want to see if we have a future stimulus check? What really is it that people want to see? Now, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't matter, right? Everybody needs to get along and people need to agree, okay? So at the end of the day, what would people want to see? And I think from just my opinion, okay, my opinion is that people want to see, if there's another round of stimulus, that the money goes to the right places, right? A lot of people are not happy that basically money didn't go to the right places, in a lot of people's opinion, okay? Now, again, it's all opinion based. Everything really at the end of the day is an actual opinion. So money going to the right places really, and the economy not crashing, right? A lot of people are saying we're in a bubble. A lot of people are saying we're in the recession. A lot of people are saying, hey, look, the real estate market is going to crash. And you've seen the mortgage crisis video. I actually made a really good mortgage crisis video a few days ago. Definitely go check that out. But at the end of the day, putting money in the right places and making sure the economy doesn't crash are the two main priorities to getting a second round of stimulus. Now, we have to just see essentially Democrats and Republicans come together, agree on a bill, which we're going to talk about right now. But real quick, during a recent Senate hearing, Chair of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, Jerome Powell, called for additional economic relief. And earlier this month, the International Monetary Fund forecast, basically they forecasted a deep global recession. Chuck Marr, Director of Federal Tax Policy at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, said the problem with the checks is that they don't necessarily target those who most need them. What's most important is that the top priority be given to the people who are harmed, which is what we're just talking about right now, right? Essentially, a lot of people are saying, look, we need to make sure that the people that need the money the most get their money, right? So that is kind of what we're looking at. And Senator Ben Cardin, Democratic member of the Senate Finance Committee, told The Hill that direct payments made more sense in March, and he wanted to target people who are really in need during the next round of relief. So what bills are we actually looking at, okay? I know a lot of people want to see the $2,000 a month retroactive bill get passed, and that is actually a pretty crazy bill, because if that were to get passed right now, in theory, if you had 3 kids, $2,000, $4,000, $6,000, and you were married, that would be $10,000. It would retroactively go back to March. So you have March, April, May, and June, okay? So you have $30,000 or $40,000, which is just insane, okay? So I don't know that we'll see it just like that get passed. I know that there's been a lot of talk on the $2,000 retroactive bill. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Also, there's been a lot of talk on the HEROES bill, right? The $1,200 additional stimulus. There was a lot of pushback with the HEROES Act, right? It did get passed in the House of Representatives. It did go to the Senate. The Senate was essentially not working. They were, basically out till Memorial Day. Now we're out of Memorial Day, but they're not really looking at it or taking it seriously, okay? But at the end of the day, you just never know, right? It is an election year. There's a lot of weird things going on right now in the economy, and you'd hate for the election year to affect the American people, right? In terms of people leveraging the election year for personal gain and things of that nature. Now, again, I don't want to get into it, and I don't get into it, but I will say that my goal on this channel is for people to do well, to thrive, to succeed, right? To do well in life, to be happy, to be positive, okay? To live an abundant life. So for that, I think that if we saw another round of stimulus that went to the right people, I think that is a good thing. Now, really quick, the HEROES Act, if it were to get passed the way that it sits right now, it would extend unemployment benefits till about January of 2021. There would be a payroll protection kind of part of the HEROES Act where it basically would expand the employee retention tax credit to help employers keep workers on payroll. There would also be a fund for essential workers under the bill. Basically, state and local governments would receive about $1 trillion to pay salaries for first responders, basically healthcare workers, teachers, other essential workers in danger of losing their jobs, or people that are kind of have a hazard job. They're in kind of this hazard risk type of job, okay? So there would be that as well. There would also be coronavirus testing, okay? A big chunk of money would actually go towards that. Support for businesses, small businesses and big businesses, and student loan forgiveness. It would actually offer up to about $10,000 worth of student loan forgiveness for people who basically students or who are economically distressed, right? They're a borrower who's economically distressed, and their student loan is a federal or private student loan. So that is the HEROES bill. Now, do I personally think that the HEROES bill, the way it's standing right now, would get passed? I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. I do think, however, that there will be some version of one of these bills that we see potentially get passed, okay? So what is another bill that we're kind of looking at that has a high likelihood? Basically, what other bill are most people talking about right now? And that, I would say, is the $2,000 a month. I mean, the average American person wants to see that bill get passed. And heck, I mean, I'm right there with you, right? I think that a lot of people that have actually been impacted by this thing have been out of a job for 2, 3, 4 months. We'll have to kind of dive into this a little bit, but basically the bill was named the Monthly Economic Crisis Support Act. It was introduced by Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey. We talked about this a couple of other times on my channel. Basically, it calls for sending $2,000 a month to individuals, $4,000 to couples, and $2,000 per child for up to 3 children, which is what we talked about a minute ago, and how it could actually be, since it is retroactive, up to about $30,000 or $40,000, assuming it were to get passed today, which is really crazy in my opinion. Now, those numbers would get reduced if you're making over $100,000 a year, and it would kind of fade out, okay? But basically, this last week, actually, Senator Harris accepted a change.org petition signed by 1.2 million individuals in support of that idea. And the senator said she plans to circulate the petition in a Dear Colleague letter with other Capitol Hill lawmakers. We will see what happens with that in the coming weeks. The reality of it is what they're essentially saying is, look, prior to everything going on right now, they were barely getting by, right? You look at 49% of Americans were already living paycheck to paycheck, and they couldn't have planned, essentially they couldn't have gone through an emergency that would have costed them over $400. So how is it that people are surviving right now? I mean, you let me know, right? Drop into the comments section below. Maybe people aren't surviving, and that is the only thing I can wrap my brain around is that, wait a minute, people aren't surviving right now, right? People are not paying their bills. They're getting way far behind, and that is why another stimulus needs to happen. What is the White House saying? Okay, the White House is saying a couple different things. Number one, they're saying they're considering reducing the unemployment payments to $250 or $300 a week during the second half of the year after July 31st, right? Now, at the end of the day, right now it's $600 a week. So that is one thing that they're saying. They're also looking at tax breaks for those who vacation in the U.S. for the remainder of the year. Another guy reported, a journalist actually reported that. And, the White House is kind of held back on the second round of stimulus right now. And we will see what ends up happening. So who really knows? I do know that the White House is supposedly going to start kind of sketching out a second round of stimulus, right? It is just a proposal this upcoming week that'll really focus on different initiatives that could help the economy recover. Basically, incentives for workers to find jobs, people to spend money in their towns and their cities. So I don't know that it'll be in the form of a direct payment, but I do think that there will be a bunch of incentives and another bill. But again, it probably won't be in the form of another payment, but it might be, and we just don't know. So if you're watching the video and you are like, Austin, I really need the money, then stay tuned. I'm going to continue to update you as time goes along. I will say in the month of May, stats actually got significantly better, about 13.3% drop in unemployment in May. And again, that is not great in the grand scheme of things, I will say that, but it is a big step in the right direction. About 1.2 million jobs in the leisure and hospitality industry, which is obviously hit the hardest, actually kind of recovered in the month of May. So, could the economy reopening actually stimulate the economy? Potentially, right? But would it stimulate it enough, and would it help the people enough that lost everything during this? Probably not, okay? So there's definitely a group of people out there that, in my opinion, really need another round of stimulus. And maybe we would see another stimulus bill somehow that just catered to that group, to those people that really need the money. In my opinion, I think that could be very, very important, okay? So guys, look, in a nutshell, stay tuned, right? Keep giving your feedback, show your support, drop into the comments section, like these videos. I think if enough people get behind something, we've seen in the world that when enough people kind of march in the same direction, they end up, 9 times out of 10, they end up actually achieving whatever their goal was. So we're seeing a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. I would just remember to kind of stay positive, to try your very best to stay positive. With that being said, I really appreciate you watching today's video. Go ahead and smash that like button. I would really appreciate it, and definitely stay tuned till the next video. Also, again, let me know what questions you have, what concerns you have, or what stimulus check you think will get passed.